You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge. Hi guys, we're back with another podcast. I'm Matt Whittle, and I'm joined here with my partner in crime, Mr. Chris Filsell.
That is hello everyone. Sorry you had to hear that. This is the Full Fat podcast for anyone who couldn't hear that correctly. So Matt laughing at his own terrible joke.
I'd start with a bit of NWA, to kick us off. What's wrong with that?
Absolutely nothing.
If only there were a third person here to sort of, let us know if it worked or not, if that was good.
If only.
Oh my god, what was that? Was that the voices of the Jedi?
That was not the voices of the Jedi.
I heard something again. Did you hear that? It sounds a bit like an irritating nagging.
Whoa. Hold your horses there, sister.
Who is this?
It's me, it's the one and only.
Well, we know it's you. They can't see you.
Yeah, it's...
That reminds me of when we went to the pub that time with our friend Jordan, who listeners won't know, but Chris went to the bar and said, I'll have this. And then Jordan said to the barman, I'll have what Chris is having. And he just bluntly went, who's Chris? In the most, absolutely wrecked him. But yeah, I believe you are Mr. Harry Bagg, aren't you?
I am indeed Mr. Harry Bagg, yes.
And, yes. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I edit a few videos for you guys.
You do? What ones have you edited?
So, recently it was Star Wars A Perfectly Balanced Duel. Great video.
If you may say so. I was going to say how great your edits are, but if you're there to do it yourself, don't worry.
Oh no, I was talking about your guys' work, of course.
Of course.
But what other ones are there? It was an Iron Man one, Doctor Who one. But
I think the first one you did was that Weeping Angels one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you edited that for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic edits, and then we go even further back, don't we?
We do. How long's it been now?
Over a decade, isn't it? We met.
I think it's like 11, 12
year
years.
8.
Yes.
Which is actually funny. We have a YouTube related story, don't we? Because
we do.
I used to make movie reviews, and so did you, didn't you? When we were both young.
Before we begin, what was your username?
It was Matsaman312, and Harry, I think there was something funny about your one. What was it called?
Yeah, real funny. The one and only Mr. Harry Funny Man.
What I loved about your reviews was in the opening sort of thing you'd cut, the intro, you had fake reviews which you'd written about how great your reviews were. Mr. Harry Funnyman's reviews are fantastic. No source.
Well, they were all true, I did believe it. All those reviewers did believe it, even if they were from one person.
You weren't lying, were you? You were just being misleading about where the quotes are coming from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, well, you were in year 8, so I think we'll let you.
Thank you.
It's basically the biggest fraud since the poster for Legend. Do you remember that when they had all those 5-star reviews?
Oh yeah.
And they stuck the Guardian's 2-star review obviously on the poster, very sneakily, so it looked like it cut off another 5-star review.
Genius.
Yeah, that's actually
genius.
Great.
I vividly remember the first time we met because I actually knew that Mr. Harry Funnyman was you from school. You didn't know that Matchman312 was me, did you?
Yeah, no.
And we were on the field at PE, and I started bringing it up. I remember you were like, "Wait, you're Matchman312?" I'm like, "Yeah."
He's the guy.
Yeah, and then history was made, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Brings us right to the now. So, what do you do in your day to day?
Work at another YouTube channel called London Real, editing content for them as well.
Fantastic.
Other than that, just watching movies, watching TV shows. You know how it goes.
No, I don't know how it goes, actually. What do you mean? What is this television? Please enlighten me. It's that Nikola Tesla episode we just watched of Doctor Who. It's really casting my mind back to the 19th century and making me think of a simpler time before TV. Wish we could go back.
There's no hope for you.
We're not found in sight. Chris, I wish we could get to Doctor Who, but there's something very pressing which we need to unpack with Mr. Harry Funnyman first off, and that is Mr. Jared Leto and his Morbius trailer.
Oh, good God!
What did you think?
I thought it was fine. It was just nothing really.
Yeah.
I felt a whole lot of nothing. Felt like I'd seen it before. Yeah.
It felt like Sony had gone, well, Venom made a lot of money. Let's remake it with Jared Leto,
absolutely.
and vampires will come into play at some point, I guess.
Yeah.
I think Jared Leto is such a weird pick.
I mean,
generally.
he's trying to claw back from being the Joker, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I feel there is an extent to which I feel sorry for him with the Joker now, because now he's that Joker that's in the middle of the two that got Oscar nommed.
Yeah.
And if Joaquin Phoenix wins Best Actor, he's in the middle of the two that won Oscars for their performance.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine that? Like, it's a bit like Ben Affleck's Batman. If Robert Pattinson is as good as he is, he's sandwiched between two of the most iconic portrayals in theory. So I do feel a bit sorry for him in that respect.
I do feel sorry for him, but then he also did agree to have damage written on his forehead.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I don't know how well that could possibly have gone, really.
I mean, I'm not saying it's good. It's not like I have a vest top with the Joker with the words "damaged." That was bought for me for Christmas by you, that you then guilt tripped me into wearing the other day.
It's great because Jared Leto on the vest is doing, that pose where he's like holding his head, and then I got Chris to do the same pose.
So
I'll show you off the podcast.
It's like a meta thing. Maybe we'll post it on the community tab to promote a video one day.
I thought you said I couldn't share it with the world.
Oh no, sure, whatever. Let that vision be shared. Sure, let's Instagram it or something.
Chris was like, "Don't send it to anyone." I was like, "No, of course not." And then, as you were saying, I sent it to his girlfriend. But yeah, no, I thought the Morbius trailer was pretty nothingy. The only intriguing part about it is the fact that Michael Keaton turns up as Adrian Toomes, which is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it feels odd, and it doesn't feel right. If you know what I mean.
It's kind of got its toes in the MCU, but it's not. It doesn't feel like an MCU movie.
Adds credence to my theory that actually the MCU is an incredibly giant expanded universe that Disney will one day merge with all properties known to mankind.
What properties would you like to see it merge with?
Coronation Street, straight away. So Roy's rolls. Roy's just they're like, I wish something would happen, and then Captain Marvel turns up and scoots off Roy on an adventure, and then they go and hang out with Angry Kid from Aardman.
Would you not say it's a bit of an unlikely pairing?
What?
I don't know if people...
Roy Cropper and Captain Marvel.
Well, don't be wrong. Like Captain Marvel and Coronation Street, they're two very well loved IPs with a long history and a virile fan base. But do you not think merging the two together might be?
No,
strange?
it's just you can do it in an organic way. So, for example, Ken Barlow could get bitten by a radioactive spider at the cabin.
Yeah.
When he's in there saying hi to Rita, and he could become one of the Spider-Men. So, there are ways to make it really unorganic and make it seem not forced as a crossover.
I think you're thinking too big. I'd rather see Coronation Street v EastEnders : long time coming. And it's
like Civil War.
Yeah. It's like Phil Mitchell crowbarring Ken Barlow. And Ian Beale's like fucking steamrolling people.
Would you like to hear my impression of Phil Mitchell?
Go on.
No, I'll do it after the podcast. I was just asking.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll remind you afterwards. Yeah. These guys don't need to hear it, do they?
Wait. All right. See, it's awful, isn't it?
Is that meant to be good?
No, I didn't say it was a good impression. I just said it was an impression. I can't really do any other famous EastEnder characters.
Oh, really?
Get my pop. It just doesn't work, does it?
Ricky! I love you, Ricky!
You
ain't my mother! Yes, I am!
You got the great best one is, don't you? Like, you need slapping down. That's the ultimate Ben Mitchell just coming in with the...
Could you do a
Thanos?
Could you do an EastEnders crossover? Yeah, not crossover. The cliffhanger sound.
Which one?
Yeah, the dun 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 dun.
dun.
Chris, can you not cut me up during my cliffhanger sound, please?
Or you know what you could call it as well? Ultimate crossover. East End Game. Well, I was expecting a deadly silence when I said that. Like, I was actually expecting a deadly silence. And it's like Phil Mitchell dies at the end, and you have all the characters from the years like stood by is it the Vic? I don't watch EastEnders.
Well, Ian Beale is very money hungry and a bit of a slimeball. So I feel like what would happen is Thanos would be collecting the gems, and in the background, Ian Beale will be concocting his own plan to steal them from underneath Thanos. And then Thanos finds out and basically like fucking terrifies him. And he's like, Aah!
So he's the Hux of the EastEnders world.
He's the Hux of the EastEnders world. Yeah. But more on Hux in a bit. Should we cover Doctor Who first this week? I think. Let's just get it out of the way. Let's get this whole thing out of the way.
So what was it? I suppose let's do a quick roundtable. What was everyone's thoughts on the episode? Describe it with
Which episode are we talking about?
of course, Nikola. Oh, Jesus Christ, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, which is up there with, again, I say this every week, some of the worst titles in Doctor Who history for episodes. Although Prisoner of the Jadoon, which sounds like it was literally made by a committee, is probably the worst so far.
It sounds like, when you'd write like a fan script in school, in like primary school, and it'd be like, The Return of the Daleks. The Master
That
returns.
still wouldn't be that bad.
Resurrection of the Master.
Or Resurrection of the Dalek. Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah.
Revelation of the... Oh,
Rise of the Slovene. I remember once one of my friends at school, such a little dickhead, really. He wrote, and it was well before episode 7 was a tangible thing. He was like, "Yeah, I've written a fan thing called episode 7, The Final Struggle." And I don't know why, but I just thought the word struggle was so hilarious. I was like, the final struggle.
What I feel so weird about that is he just wrote episode 7, but as if so at the end of the Return of the Jedi, everything's resolved. So was he just like, yeah, and then we'll do an episode 7 on its own? Doesn't that kind of just negate the whole point?
I suppose so.
Just trilogies and stuff.
Yeah, it'd be weird doing episode 7, wouldn't it?
Is the final struggle just oh, we got some of that debris fell down, so we just got to extract it from the planet?
The only thing I remember, I'm talking it must have been 10, is Leia was pregnant.
It's a period drama, not a period drama, a kitchen sink drama about Han Solo and his him struggling to come to terms with his impending fatherhood.
Really?
And the final struggle is her giving birth.
You joke about that, but that would lead to Kylo Ren, wouldn't it? Yeah. He's going to be a bad father. Oh my god, we need to find this kid. He's probably a man now.
What's funny is in 30 years, there'll be a Rogue One equivalent spin-off movie that's we need to bridge the gap between 6 and 7, and you're like, oh, I wonder what they'll do by answering a question that no one asked. How did Leia give birth? That sounds like something Disney would do.
There's already a Disney Star Wars spin-off that's bridging the gap between 6 and 7. It's called The Mandalorian Heathen. So, yeah. Don't look at me like that. Hey guys, remember when George Lucas held Baby Yoda this week? Oh, wasn't that nice? Yeah,
Joe, when Werner Herzog called them cowards for thinking of replacing him into CGI. That's I could just imagine it as well. He'd be like, "You're cowards" or something. You know what I mean? Imagine being called a coward by Werner Herzog.
Didn't he cry when he saw it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is the cutest thing in existence.
Yeah.
Lightning round. Space Jam 2. John Cheadle has been confirmed for a mysterious role. What do you think, Harry?
What?
That's what I just read as I was scrolling for that thing we're going to talk about after Doctor Who. Yeah.
Oh.
What do you think?
Actually sounds quite fun.
Well, War Machine is your favourite character, isn't he?
He definitely is.
Why don't you quote him for us before we talk about Doctor Who?
Boom! You looking for this?
It's like Don Cheadle's in the room.
Wow, yeah, Harry disappeared and Don was in his seat. This has been the least structured of the podcast episodes so far, hasn't it?
No.
I'd
say it's on form. It's
usually much better than this, Harry.
So what was everyone's thoughts on Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror?
Should we give the floor to Harry first?
Yeah, let's give it to Harry.
I think it was better than last week's. I do not think it was better than Spyfall. I feel like the overall quality of this series has been a lot better than the previous one. I thought this episode was a lot better than last week's, personally.
You're going to have to clarify for me because I can't count. What was the previous season to Series 12?
Series 11.
Right, okay.
Right, just in case,
I wasn't sure if it was Series 9.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, no,
sorry.
Yeah, it's long-standing, yeah.
Yeah. That didn't tickle you, did it, Harry?
No.
So I was struggling. I was like, how do I salvage this now? Well, how can we make this funny? And then I concluded, I can't.
Matt, I've told you to stop making jokes.
You are the worst one at doing it, so...
The worser one?
Yes.
Well,
you're worser than worse,
that hurts.
Which means, broken English.
Well, just to let you know, I said to Harry just before we recorded, when you weren't in the room, can we find a tangential way to bring up that I'm great and you're not very good? And wow, he actually managed to do it, so fair play. I said he couldn't do it.
But Chris, what am I from earlier?
Inevitable.
No. I think you'll find I'm the strongest. He couldn't carry a box back to our flat earlier, and he was like, "Can you carry it?" And I was like, "Only if you say I'm the strongest."
Yeah, but you were.
And he
it, was
said
it was the dimensions of the box.
Oh, it's the dimension of the box.
I could have carried it. It's just
It's the dimension of these babies.
You were there as a resource.
Mwah,
To be
mwah.
tapped. See, this is what I do. I've done this before. I said to you, "Oh, Matt, I'm not strong enough. Can you carry this?" And then you, cure your fragile ego. It's like, of course I can. I'll carry this. I'll show the world how strong I am.
Can I just say this is what happens when you say Matt isn't funny? It's defense mode activate.
I've got to claw it all back, I've got to pick up the pieces that you left me with. But yeah, I would agree with everything you said about that episode and indeed the series. I think it's been a huge step up from the last season. I thought this was a really fun episode, and we learnt things about Tesla and Edison. And particularly if younger viewers are watching, I feel like you're getting a crash course in who those people are. Much, the opposite of what happened with something like Demons of the Punjab, where I felt like, as you said, Chris, last week, they touched on the history behind the partition, but they don't really go into detail. Whereas I feel like this really sort of delved into how Tesla ended his life penniless, had all these great ideas, and whereas Edison was more of the businessman, the man with a plan. And then also I just thought it was a fun romp with the not Rachnos.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit strange. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Just up front, I genuinely really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was really fun. I said last week, I think, didn't I, on the podcast, that I was looking forward to it because it looked fun. I really liked that they didn't make Edison an outright villain. Like, you thought he was at the beginning, and then it was just like, it was more like a rivalry thing. It was quite nice. But it was strange to me that you would have a design that was so, like, let's face it, just so derivative of the Rachnos.
Yes, yeah.
And then it just not be Rachnos, which is bizarre because they've done that before, I'm from Clom instead of Raxacorca phallopatoris. It just seemed strange to me. Because Doctor Who's so big on, it's a distant cousin of X. Yeah. So it would have been a really easy throwaway line. I don't think they're going to go down in history as a pantheon of great villains, but they were
well designed, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, and the sequence in which they were being chased by them, there was genuinely high tension. It sounds like just then that I'm dunking on it a lot more than I intended to. It's just, it's bizarre to me that it wasn't, because it was so obviously
it's a
inspired
nitpick.
by them.
It doesn't break the episode. No, but I think we're all in agreement. It was strange to because the mask is pretty much the same thing as the Rachnos, isn't it?
Yeah.
I did like that bit where they were chasing Edison and Yaz, and you had that overhead shot where the sort of spiders were sort of crashing into each other because they weren't clearly used to this sort of terrain. That was great. Also when they were in their human disguises using Silurian technology, that was really great. One of them did look a bit Harry Potter though, didn't he?
Oh,
definitely, with the red lightning and all that kind of stuff.
Also, once again, Jodie Whittaker just seemed to have so much more presence. She seemed to be doing some really fun stuff. I loved that she beat them using just intelligence again. Do you know what I mean? Oh, you really are stupid enough to have that weapon. She's like, nope, wanted you to touch it, done. That was better than just... I mean, I really like Spyfall, it's still the best of the season, but that's a lot better than, I did this thing off screen. You watch the Doctor just beat them, she outsmarted them.
She's been so much more assertive in these past 4 episodes, and she's been driving a lot of the plot forward, giving people helpful advice. She's felt like what the Doctor should have been, and what was lacking a bit in the last series for me.
Absolutely.
And Graham again. I say this every week.
On top form every week.
They're just giving him. You know what it is. He doesn't really need an arc anymore because he had his arc last year.
Yeah.
So they're just giving him. They're doing what they should be doing with Bradley Walsh. They're just using him for asides, and it's giving Yaz and Ryan more to do.
Yes.
In the best possible way. I do think he's the third companion, really, ultimately. And it just he's really coming into his own again.
I liked his little rivalry with Gene Hunt's brother.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic.
Well, when he was talking about being a bus driver.
Yeah, he's like, all you do, you see people that you could make a profit out of, can't you? Working class hero, Bradley Walsh / Graham. But yeah, did anyone else have any complaints about the episode? Because I thought it was pretty solid all the way through.
I'd like to make a complaint.
Don't care.
Well, I think okay when I tell you the nature of the complaint.
Don't care, not my shift.
Well, you're an ambassador for the hotel.
Well, it's not my problem.
But I think you'll tell what the...
don't care.
One of my rooms, it's not quite, it's not quite standard. So if you could fix that,
really, Mr. Harry Funnyman. A moment ago, we made the bold claim that I was not the funny one, and we just had to listen to that drivel. What do you think about that?
What a load of tosh. Yeah. So something I didn't actually maybe not like as much is I feel as though, I mean, it's not necessarily the problem with the episode, it's more the problem with the whole series is that they've just got way too many companions, and I feel like when you have new characters coming in for that particular episode, it kind of means that you're losing out on that connection with the characters. So for example, like with Yaz, I feel like she's the one who's suffered the most throughout season 11 and 12 in terms of that connection, and I just feel like again in this episode we don't really get that.
I agree with you. I think I didn't mind it as much in this episode because I feel like the focus is very much on the Doctor, Edison, and Tesla. Whereas I feel like, I agree with you in like other episodes when they've been sidelined, it's been a bit frustrating. I actually didn't mind it too much this week. I feel like it had a purpose.
My concern with her is I'm starting to think maybe the damage was done too much in series 11. So you can tell they've made a notable thing to give her more important stuff to do. Like, she was the one with Tesla, right? But I feel like the lack of any character development really across 11 means it's very difficult to now. I think they'd have to do something like what they did with Clara in Capaldi's first season, where they basically just retool her completely as if it didn't happen, and that's quite difficult when the others...
They're sitting on a gold mine of potential with her being a police officer.
That's really weird.
And they brought it up at the start of the season. I was like, oh, they're going to like go on about that again. Like, if it's set next... sorry, my voice is going. Like next week, it's present day Earth, right? Could she be solving a case, and then she calls for the Doctor to help her out? It turns out to be the Jadunia. I just want to see her as a police officer.
Well, Chibnall seems aware of it because he mentioned like a con, I think, like we're talking like months ago, like just after series 11, and people were like, oh, in the next series will have a police background, and he was like, maybe. And it's like, so he's clearly aware that that's a recurring complaint, even though he claimed this week that he doesn't read reviews of the show.
You mean he didn't watch our video essay on things we didn't like about season 11?
But I mean, like, I think that's a ridiculous claim. I don't read the reviews and I don't look at what the fans say because it's my vision. I'm saying it's just not true, is it?
Yeah.
Like, we all know if you were making something, you would read the reviews, right?
Yeah, even if you skimmed stuff.
Yeah.
Also, hasn't he given statements about it in the past, like, oh, it's a minority of fans, which to decry a certain thing as a minority of fans is surely to know what the majority of fans are saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, it seems a bit retconny.
He's selling some porcupines.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I don't think there's too much to say this week because I thought it was an enjoyable episode. There's nothing that would break the canon of Doctor Who in it. I liked the callback to have you ever seen a planet burn?
That was great.
So I feel like we are going to have that full arc with her by the end of the season. I think it's coming.
I just feel like moments like that have really upped this season. Like last season, we just didn't have those moments with Jodie Whittaker, and I feel like that's why I didn't like her as much last series.
Yeah, because it just feels like they're actually bothering to seed stuff in.
Yeah.
And often that's all it takes. The difference between a good episode and a bad episode is those little beats.
Also, I was packed in a lot of spectacle, like the fucking lightning bolt at the end.
Yeah.
Terrific.
I hate doing this. So this isn't a criticism, but I hate being like, it could have been interesting if they'd explored this, because, obviously, what do I know? I'm not saying my ideas are better. I thought it was quite strange that she was facing an alien species that stole a ship and kind of haphazardly pilots it, and there was no reference to her in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a really easy thing to have, like, her...
Yeah, that'd been cool,
it would have just, like, worked, like, fanatically with the story, especially because the whole thing was about stealing things.
Oh, I actually really liked the backstory they gave to that orb of, like, oh, it was from, like, a really intelligent race, and they send these out to sort of, like, give people, like, information, and then it had been repurposed. That was really cool. Also, I really like the idea that they just want Tesla to rebuild the ship. If you were aliens stranded on Earth, you'd go for, like, the genius.
Oh yeah, of course.
I don't know why they didn't ask me, really.
And it was good that they weren't. It was good that they weren't time traveling. Like, they were just in the area.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they've come.
Yeah.
There wasn't like an importance to him from their perspective. Like, I was a bit like, it's just going to be another. He's the most important man in the universe, which we've been doing with the history stories in an almost eye-rolling amount of time. It just happened that he was more intelligent than Edison.
Yeah.
I love that bit where she was like, Edison's kicking himself right now. That it's not him.
Yeah, that's great.
That was good.
Do you not think the episode would have been better if it was in the present day and the exact same story, but it's Elon Musk playing Elon Musk? They're like, your SpaceX rocket will get us back home, Mr. Musk.
No, because I think that it would be more that someone else would be picked, and Elon Musk would be like, well, I'm going to decry them publicly in the media, because there must be something wrong with them.
Do you not think it would be better calling it Elon Musk's Night of Muskiness? That was a great one, Matt. Well, thanks, Harry.
Matt, I didn't speak.
I think you
I love
you bloody well did.
The simultaneous, like, for anyone, obviously you don't know what's happening. Neither me nor Harry knew where to look when he said that, so I just looked off into the distance, and Harry was looking at the floor. It was it's just been, for both of us, it's been a real tumbleweed.
Well, you know what? It's Sunday night. We've gone on a bit of a lads tour this weekend, haven't we? We're all a bit tired. We went down to Bath to see an old friend from uni who lives there now, didn't we?
Shout out to Alex Nullier.
Yeah, it was good fun, wasn't it? The best part of the night for me was after we'd come out of the club. You were expecting a long walk back to the hotel, and the hotel, we didn't plan this, was literally opposite.
Oh, nice.
We were like, sweet, let's
Yeah,
just
that's great.
fall into bed.
Yeah, we thought it'd be like a 45-minute journey.
Yeah.
But speaking of long and arduous journeys,
Yes.
of course, it's time to talk about Star Wars. Again.
Episode 9, Duel of the Fates.
Oh my god! What
Could you
title.
imagine, Mr. Harry Funny Man, if when the title had been revealed, it had been revealed as Duel of the Fates? I think I would have lost my fucking mind.
I would have creamed my underwear. Let me tell you that. I would have creamed my underwear.
Sorry, can you be more specific? What do you mean?
And I would pour some sort of cream into my underwear. Yeah, that's right.
Hype cream.
Hype cream indeed.
Can I get a little bit of that hype cream?
Oh, of course,
You
of
come in a
course, of
package.
course.
Yeah,
But no,
ointments.
seriously, this is some heavy shit to unpack.
Ever since we asked you to come on the podcast, I've been hyped to go through this.
Absolutely.
So for anyone who isn't aware, basically, recently, obviously, it's come to light that Colin...
Last time on the train wreck that was Skywalker.
Anyone who watches this channel knows none of us liked the movie. No one we know liked the movie. Apparently some people did, and that's okay, but we just personally didn't like
And
it.
if any of them are out there, write in, let us know.
No, I know some people, and it's truly horrifying. It's truly
It
horrifying.
reminds me of that old Hugh Laurie sketch. Have you ever seen it? Where he's just like sat in this like nuclear bunker, like boarded up, and he's just on his own, and he's like, "Hello, is anyone there? Please, is anyone there? This is BBC Radio 4. Is anyone there?" It always kills me every time I see it. It's literally 20 seconds, but it's just genius.
Could you open one of the podcasts with that?
What?
Yeah. Just do that whole
To be
shtick.
fair, we stole from the two Ronnies last week. So
We did, yeah.
it's like one of the straight funniest sketches I've ever seen because it's so simple. Oh, he's cracking up over here.
He's having a great time,
He's
isn't
having
he?
a great time. He's
Oh,
glad he
having a
came
great
on.
time.
But yeah, Matt, do you want to explain the context behind Star Wars?
Sorry, that was the Wanted. Colin Trevorrow? Is it Trevorrow?
Trevorrow.
Trevorrow.
Trivago? Hotel Trivago?
Director Trevorrow. Hotel Trivago. I think it's Colin Trevorrow.
Trevorrow, I believe.
Right. Okay. So basically, Hotel Trevorrow was on the movie up until I think it was around 2017, and he was originally going to be the right director for episode 9, and he finished at least a first draft of the script, which is now leaked all over the internet. It's been legitimised by a few sources. So we're gonna unpack some of those points, which of course we all have read before, haven't we, leading up to this? But I think we need maybe a little bit of a refresher.
Yes, definitely.
And I've got a few other sources here from some little tidbits which aren't in. It was Robert Mayer Burnett who dropped it originally, wasn't it? So here's a little summary of that. So first off, the crawl is much better. None of this the dead speak on
God.
Fortnite. So the iron
On Fortnite.
Well, did you not know the
Yeah, no,
You're seeing,
the
yeah.
messages on Fortnite are so stupid, isn't
I know,
it?
it's-
Absolutely ridiculous.
That is where we're heading, though. Like long term. You didn't look at this like tiny thing that was released only in this form, then you can't understand the story.
well, the amount of tidbits we found out from the visual dictionaries and all that kind of stuff
Oh
about
yeah,
the movie.
it's
Like,
absolutely ridiculous.
look, Janna is Lando's daughter. The planet at the start was Mustafar. Like, it doesn't look like Mustafar, does it? It's also red.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, the iron grip of the First Order has spread to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Only a few scattered planets remain unoccupied. Traitorous acts are punishable by death. Determined to suffocate a growing unrest, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren has silenced all communication between neighbouring systems. Led by General Leia Organa, the Resistance has planned a secret mission to prevent their annihilation and forge a path to freedom. Well, that's already better, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a million times better.
Oh, absolutely. Like, without a doubt.
it's a lot cleaner, isn't it, not having Palpatine in there already? Like we're picking up from where the Last Jedi was. So the opening sequence is at a shipyard, and BB-8 and Rose, who multiple reports have said is a main character throughout the script, just as well utilised as Rey, Poe, and Finn. They're basically stealing. I think they're stealing a. I don't know. They're not planning to go there to steal a Star Destroyer, but they end up stealing a Star Destroyer. And during the sequence, Rey is disguised as a Tusken Raider, and she's revealed to have created her own weapon, which is a double-bladed lightsaber hybrid of her staff and Luke's cracked saber.
Amazing.
Sounds awesome, doesn't it?
It sounds
makes me sad.
Absolutely awesome.
Every time I read these little tidbits of the Hotel Trivago script, I fucking want to weep. So they steal a Star Destroyer. And then the Knife 9, which is the ship of the Knights of Ren, starts tailing them. And then we cut to Coruscant.
Oh my god.
And when I first read that, I was like, thank you, because that's an essential planet in the Star Wars universe. I think it was first introduced in the Thrawn books in the 90s, and then Lucas took it over into the movies. But like, it always made so much sense to me to have a capital city planet, and like the whole thing's a massive city, and it's where, you know, all of the hustle and bustle and all the commerce of the galaxy comes to converge. It makes sense the Senate would be there. I feel like it's so strange to feature it so heavily in the prequels, and then, you know, it makes sense to not touch upon it in the original trilogy because obviously it hadn't existed yet, but then to come to 7, 8 and 9 and not even mention it, it's so strange, isn't it? So in this version, it was going to be a key planet in the script, and it's no longer a vibrant city. Quote, the new structures are built atop the Art Deco structure of the Old Republic, and it's occupied by the First Order. They have their own palace there. The citizens are now scavengers, and there's a bit somewhere else in this where I think Finn and Rose go to the Jedi Temple to uncover a beacon, and the homeless are all being sheltered there. And
That's
I just
incredible.
love... It's great, isn't it? I love the idea that the Jedi Temple is still a place where it can shelter people in need.
Well, what more? You need to say more, you know.
I'm giving you a little Harry bag boner, aren't I? Well, this gave me a little tiddlywink. Hux is now Chancellor Hux. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense.
I mean, what they done with him in Rise of Skywalker was absolutely awful in my eyes. Having him be a spy and, you know,
And shoot
I didn't mind.
off
That was one of the
screen.
few elements I didn't mind in Rise of Skywalker, honestly.
I
thought his death was
really
really good, but I thought the reveal
cheap.
that he was a spy was quite good.
I like it in principle of like he hates Kylo Ren so much, and he's obviously lost a lot of power in that year that he doesn't care anymore. He just wants Kylo to lose. I don't mind that as a concept, but the execution and him just helping him out.
I think having that other commander come in made it so obvious that was going to happen.
Yeah.
If that commander wasn't there, I think I would have bought into the idea more and been more surprised.
It's just so
that
strange,
it was so obvious,
isn't it? Like late in the game, in the third part of the trilogy, you've had this character, you know, that we've been following alongside Kylo Ren, and now we're just going to replace him with Richard E. Grant.
Yeah.
What's the point? It's just it's story real estate in the final instalment, which you don't want to lose. I read another. I'm combining things I've read here on the fly, sort of to enchant you. I read that he's actually been. You find out he's been collecting lightsabers, and he's actually obsessed with the Jedi and the Force, but he can't channel the Force himself. But he's been trying really hard because basically he wants to overthrow Kylo Ren.
See, that I feel like that's just so much better. Like the whole spy thing, like he obviously hates Kylo and wants to try and oppose him in any way. This is so much more interesting.
Yes, I don't believe he would try and screw over Kylo Ren and screw over himself. I think he would try and keep the First Order afloat. Wouldn't he?
I think he loves that power.
Yes, and then we start.
I don't think he wants to screw over the entire First Order. And I feel like that's. Why the hell would he ever help out the Resistance? Like, it doesn't make any sense. He would try and find another way to fuck over Kylo Ren.
Yes, I agree. And I feel like they were teasing that in the last movie when they're having all this bickering. And also, that brilliant moment where he sees Kylo Ren laying on the ground unconscious and he reaches for his blaster, and then when Kylo Ren wakes up, he like slowly moves his hand away. So Mustafar is in this version. I've got written here, Kylo Ren is alone except for a Darth Maul-esque droid. But I don't have any concept art for that, so I'm not sure what that would have entailed.
I presume they're
painted
referring
like
to the Darth Maul that we see in Clone Wars. That would be my.
Oh
presumption.
no, it says Darth Maul-esque droid. So I think it's just like got that sort of design.
Oh, okay, that sounds really interesting.
He has stubble indicating the search has been for a long time. Oh, also, this is a fantastic idea. Throughout the movie, he was going to be haunted by Luke Skywalker. That's fantastic, isn't it? Like, you've never seen a Force ghost really kind of used in an antagonistic way. But of course, if they can just appear anywhere in the galaxy, why would they not go and irritate the villain?
Yeah. What are you saying? Like, say Jar Jar Binks had Force powers, he'd be like following people around, just like annoying them. Misa, please. Now, what have I done to deserve this?
Kylo Ren's just smashing up the console.
Yeah.
Misa can't get rid of you, betcha.
Do you remember when he was the most hated thing in the Star Wars universe? Do you remember?
I do.
You know when there was a time when that was the thing that everyone hated, and now we exist in a post Last Jedi, post Rise of School. Okay. Yeah, no, it's just bizarre that, like, you know, he's just not in the pantheon of things that are hated in Star Wars. Jar Jar Binks just isn't as high up. As
It's not top on the list anymore.
No.
Is it?
We know there's a rumour that he's going to be in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Oh,
But I actually think that would be a cool idea, because if you bring back Ahmed Best and you actually gave him some good material to work with, you tone down that silly impression. And like, if they redeemed Jar Jar Binks...
Oh my god, that'd be
incredible, wouldn't it?
He's got a cool design. I mean, when I was a kid, I actually liked
The
him.
Gungans are cool. It's literally just him, isn't it?
Yeah,
And his
yeah.
characterisation.
as soon as he opens his mouth, it's game over. Pretty much.
It's like a few on dates, isn't it, Chris? So there is no Jar Jar Binks in this version of the script. I can confirm.
That is a shame.
I know.
What about Watto?
No Otto? No.
What about...
Dexter Jester.
No, I was going to say K.I. Mundi, but...
My Mundi.
That's it.
Get it right, Chris.
Okay, sorry. I don't know
It's not amateur hour, is it?
I don't know my members of the council that well.
So it kind of builds again on what Luke says in Last Jedi, like, you know, if you strike me down, I'll always be with you. Like, literally, what he meant was, I'm going to follow you
quite
around,
literally,
you know, and destabilise all your plans. But yeah, so he's trying to convince him to give up his ways, and he's basically like, nah, mate. He goes to Vader's temple, which we actually see. If you're going to go to Mustafar in Rise of Skywalker, why are we not seeing Vader's temple?
Yep.
But anyway, he finds a Sith holocron, and there's a hologram of Palpatine, and the recording is for Vader. It's basically a contingency plan if Luke indeed kills Palpatine and, you know, the Empire falls. And Palpatine's basically saying, Vader, you have to take Luke to Remnicor, which is a system, they think, to see Tor Valum, who it turns out is Palpatine's teacher. And you might be thinking, well, what about Darth Plagueis? I absolutely love this idea. So Kylo goes there, and he brings up Plagueis to this Tor Valum, and apparently it's supposed to look like a Lovecraftian monster. I think it might be the concept art we've seen of, you know, that spidery thing that Kylo Ren's talking to. It's on like this sort of like head. Looked awesome. And he was basically going to be like, I don't know who that is. And it was going to be implied that everything Palpatine's ever said to Anakin in those prequels, like, it's bullshit, basically.
That's cool.
And even though Palpatine doesn't really show up in this...
I mean, it's
feel
true
like
to his character, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets Palpatine more than Rise of Skywalker did.
Oh, absolutely.
Just in that little nugget, because of course he'd bullshit, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
To get the chosen one on his side, and also I like the idea. It's kind of that Last Jedi thing again of giving you something you didn't realise you wanted. Like I always like had Plagueis in my mind, but now we're actually getting this like Lovecraftian monster called Tor Valum, who's actually you know, Palpatine's teacher, basically as well, the holocron that he's getting all this information from explodes, releases red lightning, and scars Kylo Ren. And then, I mean, it's a bit fanboy, but I think this is cool. He then uses a Mandalorian helmet and schmelts it onto his face, to sort of cover up the scar.
Oh, I don't mind that. It's kind of cool.
I like that he's getting a more grotesque as he goes on, because it sort of fits with the idea that, you know, he is beyond saving now.
Also, that's what happened to Palpatine, right? Like, he gets more and more powerful, and he gets more and more like disfigured and evil, until you see him in his final form in the original trilogy of like this shriveled mess.
Well, there's two conflicting theories on, you know, in episode 3 when he basically shoots the lightning and then he goes all like scarred.
Yeah.
Some people think that it was the lightning damaging him. Other people think that that's always been what he's looked like for years, and like how he looks as the Chancellor is like he's like manipulating how you see him to look normal, and then once the lightning happened, he was just like, well, this is my time to like not have to put up with that anymore. Like he reveals his true self, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Also, I think, you know, if you're going to use the dark side, I feel like it should take a toll on your body.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
I mean, I said this with the hooks thing to you privately. It seems like a lot of these things are almost like Harry Potter-esque sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like the idea that like Voldemort disfigures himself for using like dark arts, and if that hooks thing were correct, that's like a squib in Harry Potter. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like the idea that someone who wasn't force sensitive would be like, well, here I am.
That is actually a really cool concept.
So basically, Rey still believes she can change Kylo, and Finn says something to the effect of, you have to shut him out, he can't change, it's too late, and she still believes that she can change his mind. And then from there, I believe that basically Rey uses the sacred text to find out there's a beacon underneath the Jedi Temple, so they can basically disable that and then contact their allies, so they can have like a final stand on Coruscant. So Rose and Finn, I believe, go there, and then their plotline is basically Finn recognises a trooper when his mask accidentally comes off, and he sort of gets the impetus to think, oh, maybe my purpose is that I should be getting other stormtroopers to defect, and then he basically amasses his own army of mutinied stormtroopers and leads them against the First Order in the final battle. And I'm like, that right there is exactly where Finn's story should have gone.
I feel like every point you're reading off, I feel like they slightly done it in Rise of Skywalker but made it worse.
Yeah, how do you mean?
Well, like, obviously Finn meets what's her
Janna.
name?
I think I'm saying that right. Janna.
Obviously, like, they're stormtroopers who have rebelled and gone away. I feel like they slightly hinted at that idea of him becoming some sort of general or leader of the stormtroopers. That in this, it just, so far everything you're reading off, it just executes so much better. And I feel like they did take some of the ideas from this script, but like I said, just made them shitter.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying they made them slightly shitter, the ideas.
This was supposedly a week before Carrie Fisher passed away, this version of the script. So it was quite far along, obviously.
Yeah.
So basically, Kylo Ren, I think, goes to try and... it's unclear where Rey's going. I think she's basically going on this like sort of Jedi journey. I think if from what I understand, the original video of this Robert Mayer guy, he's quite vague on what she's sort of up to.
Yeah, I assume this is just a treatment thing anyway.
I think he read it and then he sort of said, and then other people that have corroborated and said the script's legit have added in extra things. Like, for example, the stuff about Hux owning the lightsabers, from what I'm reading here, that isn't in this. That's from something else I read. Right. But basically, I think Rey and Kylo Ren... So Team A is what I just described. Team B is Rey, Poe, Chewbacca. They're going to a planet to find something to help Rey figure out what she needs to do. So yes, as I said, the description is incredibly vague. Kylo goes to a Sith planet. So he meets Tor Valon, and before he leaves, I think this is great as well, he takes Vader's mask and he throws it off the balcony of Coruscant and it shatters, and he says to the mask, "You allowed love to cloud your judgment." So again, He's freeing himself from the shackles of Vader.
But that's the whole trajectory of where he was going, was of forget the past and things like that. Yeah. I like the idea that he's almost not a Sith ever, is he?
Well, so another thing, that the reason why he gets scarred by that holocron is because it doesn't recognise him as a Sith, because obviously he's not actually, so that's why it burns him. And then Leia's plot during this is to try and amass an army, and she goes and finds Lando in basically like a dive bar. He seems to have pretty much the same arc as what he gets in Rise of Skywalker. He's like, nah, I'm not going to do it, and then by the end he like brings a fleet in. Okay. Anyway, so Team A successfully infiltrates the Jedi Temple. They turn on the beacon, and then loads of people all over the galaxy are like, oh, we need to go and help the Resistance, and it all basically converges on Coruscant. Team B are pursued by the Knights of Ren. Oh, and also Rey kills the Knights of Ren, and like that's where she like sort of touches the dark side, and then afterwards she has this sort of moment where she's like, I'm not really a Jedi, like a Jedi wouldn't have killed them. Also, they were going to be Luke's former students, which means they were going to be force sensitive,
which also ties in with the whole idea was that Kylo kidnapped all the people,
and they were going to be obviously, like, you know, we would have had like a Force-sensitive battle, wouldn't we, with Rey and
Yeah,
Knights
that'd
of
have
Ren?
been-
I mean, for me
Absolutely
now,
incredible.
they're like Captain Phasmacore. They're just
useless.
absolute waste.
Yeah.
They're more marketed than they are actually present in the franchise. Like,
Yeah.
I actually forget they exist.
Yeah. Kylo Ren is taught by Tor Valum basically this power. And what I gather from this is, obviously in the first movie he's afraid he'll never be as powerful as Vader. I think by this movie, even though he's angrier and he's like doubled down on his villainy, I think he's realised he's never going to be as powerful as Vader. So what Tor Valum offers him basically is this vampiric force power where he can suck the force out of living beings and sort of gain their power. I think that's really cool because it's like an artificial way for him to gain more power, and also it feels a bit like Sylar in Heroes.
Oh, yeah.
And then of course he does that to Tor Valum and he kills him.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
It is awesome,
That
isn't
is
it?
so cool. And also, in Rise of Skywalker, I'm not really a fan of the whole force healing thing, and I feel like this is a much better.
That's like a dark version of the force healing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it makes more sense.
You
to
can
me.
tell they reversed it as well.
Yeah,
Also, I like
that's-
the idea, as it's said by Palpatine in Episode 3, the path to the dark side is made by abilities that are like unnatural, you know, that etc. and you won't find in common.
Yeah.
It makes more
Yeah.
sense for the Sith to have this ancient thing to do with
Yeah.
like sucking stuff and power than it does Jedi's having something, because it does. I know it's pretty nitpicky really, but it does annoy me in a sense that like, oh, so this Jedi ability to, you know, just heal people has always existed.
Yeah, it's
and then they
nitpicky,
just
but it
didn't
does just
save
come out of
Padme and they
nowhere.
didn't help Anakin. And
I mean,
all
in
this stuff.
fairness, I think force healing has existed in Legends before Rise of Skywalker, but I do get what
Yeah,
you're saying.
but-
But I always gathered that she got that from those sacred texts that she kept.
Yeah,
But it is weird. It's like, why did Luke not read the texts? Because he would have found
Yeah,
that really
and
interesting.
also it's not mentioned in any of the prequels or anything like
No,
that.
it's a late in the game thing to bring
yeah.
it in.
where
isn't
it's
it?
bringing in force like drain for me.
Yeah, it
doesn't-
seems like a
it
deep,
doesn't-
dark power that.
And
hasn't
also,
been
he's
discovered
had to
before.
go to this long lost alien that's 7,000 years old to find out about, it, isn't he? So it's like that's why that
it's
power
not just
is not
come out of thin air.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So basically, yeah, it all converges on Coruscant, and I'm just reading through these notes here. Oh, Rey and Kylo at the same time battle on Mortis, and this is the thing I'm kind of a bit iffy on. I don't know how you guys think about this. We find out Rey is still Rey Nobody, so fantastic.
Yep, great.
But we find out that it was Kylo Ren who murdered Rey's parents, and it was at Snoke's orders.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't really add much, really.
No, I'd
and
agree with
also I feel like that. Does it even make sense time wise?
It's strange, isn't it? I think it's basically. Oh, there was Backlash to the Last Jedi. We need to come up with a little bit more information that you need to learn without undoing what happened
Yeah,
before.
I can see why.
Which
they
again,
would
I'd
think
be
that,
happy
okay,
with in
yeah.
theory.
Yeah.
If they really feel like they needed to do that,
Yeah.
then why didn't they do that? I just realised as well with this Tor Valum thing, if everything that Palpatine said was a lie, does that mean that the rule of two was also a lie, and it was a way for Palpatine to consolidate his power by continuously having apprentices, using them to their logical extent, and then going, oh, the rule of two, and slaughtering them?
I mean, I don't know
That's actually-
if this character is canon anymore, but I'm pretty sure Darth Bane, who's like an ancient Sith, was the one that came up with the rule of two, because basically there were lots of Sith, and then they kept betraying each other. So he was like, "Well, we're not like the Jedi. We need to be like a master and apprentice only, because otherwise, there's no way that we can like basically trust each other." I'm pretty sure it's Darth Bane. I don't know if that's canon anymore, but I do like that version that you
Yeah,
just
that's-
suggested.
Yeah, like that's all I mean is that like obviously all this lore could have been written by Palpatine. Like he could have just made everything up.
Oh,
do you
you're
know what I
saying
mean?
he might have made up Darth Bane? As
I'm
well?
saying like, but well, does he mention
In
Darth Bane in
universe.
the movies, or is
No,
that
no,
an
no,
expanded
no,
universe?
no, no.
So that's what I'm saying. One, really, it depends on how you want to approach the movie, because you can approach the movies as separate, and each time something new happens, it erases parts of like
Yeah,
expanded
yeah.
universe. But if you're going to go from a straight thing, I mean, if Palpatine made up Darth Plagueis, who obviously has his own existence in the expanded universe, what if everything that is Sith lore is just this? Like, 'cause
really like that.
think about the kind of
Yeah,
guy that he is. He could just go, I've got these force powers, someone's trained me, and then be like, yes, the ancient Darth Bane, da-da-da. He's the kind of guy that would make up things.
As well, what I like about this version is it ties together all 9 movies without being on the nose. Like,
Yes.
bringing Palpatine back undoes things, whereas having him in a holocron having Kylo Ren finding his teacher, finding out a bit more about Palpatine.
It's fan service done right.
It is fan service done right.
Doesn't he fight? I read a treatment where he fights Vader as well in a
yes,
flashback as well. And I just feel like stuff like that is fan service handled well. Like in Rogue One at the end, like that Darth Vader scene, even though it is really good, it doesn't really serve anything.
No.
Whereas like here, we're seeing Vader in action and it's serving.
Kylo Ren. He's fetishised Vader, right?
Yes.
So the idea that then he would go, oh, I'm going to fight him in my head.
Yeah.
It's that same thing. It's like, oh, well, that's letting go of this other thing.
Well, also, it's the equivalent of the Force cave that Luke went into in Empire. And I think as well, from what I read, he loses against Vader. That fits in perfectly.
So good.
I know. It's hurting me. It's hurting my soul.
Painful. I don't know whether I'm happy to see this or not.
I'm sad because as much as we can say all of this is really good, it's not what happened.
Yeah, and there's not going to be another cut out there like the Snyder cut, you know.
It reminds me
the Trevorrow cut
of when there were those very, very early Series 7 leaks for Doctor Who, and people were saying that Angels Take Manhattan was going to be about the Statue of Liberty being like a super angel, and the whole plot was the angels trying to like eviscerate electricity on Earth so it can like exit and like consume Earth.
Oh, because it's the city that never sleeps. The lights
so obviously the lights on all the time. So it's them like in caves underground and the angels cutting power.
Yeah.
They're not cutting power to kill people. They're trying to just siphon off all the energy. Sounded infinitely better than, at some point a giant Statue of Liberty just chases them.
When that happened and then they do nothing with it 5 minutes later, it's like, what was the point of that being in the episode?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's things like that. I'm both. Obviously, that is better. The first option, in my opinion. You know, anyone listening, feel free to disagree. But the fact that what I actually have isn't that means that it does it. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, this is what we could have had, but I'm sure lots of early drafts of scripts, maybe there are of bad films, maybe start out with good intentions, and it doesn't. This isn't the Rise of Skywalker, is it? It very much isn't. It's not got the same title, but we'll never get this. This doesn't exist. It never will exist.
I think just to wrap up this bullet points I have, and then I've got another little thing I'd like to share with you.
Treating us well and truly.
Well, Mr.
Treating me or destroying me, I'm not quite sure what it is.
Mr. Colin T, my boy, is treating us here. Also, Luke, Obi-Wan and Yoda appeared as Force ghosts, like actually appeared to save Ben. And that's supposed to be like the point of the third act where it's like, maybe he'll change, and then it's like, nah, he's not going to change, and then Rey has to like basically stop him. And then Finn's army topple the First Order on Coruscant with the help of Leia and her space forces. We all go home in time for tea. It's all happy. But this is freaking awesome. I love this. Obviously, Chancellor Hux, you know, he's not going to go. He's going to go down with the ship, isn't he? The First Order was everything to him. Apparently, he was going to pick up a lightsaber, and they were not going to say whose lightsaber it was, but you'd just be able to know from the design, which is filmic. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
He was going to run himself through with Mace Windu's lightsaber and kill himself before the Resistance got to him. Also, the First Order are Nazis. That's Hitler, isn't it?
Yeah.
Coruscant is Berlin. They've closed in. He kills himself.
Yeah,
Chancellor Hitler, isn't it?
And Star Wars has always been a metaphor.
Yeah,
ultimately for the Second World War. It always has been.
Good,
That's actually what Lucas has always intended. They got that so right in Force Awakens when they're doing these big rallies. The only thing I think about this, as I say, is it's strange to know so much about it existing.
Yeah,
like it's unfortunate in many ways.
Yeah,
because this is the thing. We'll never get this, and we'll never be able to get to something like this because The Rise of Skywalker set so much in stone now that you just can't get around. You can't circumvent the fact that Palpatine came back. Unless you do something even lamer, which is, but that Palpatine we saw was actually a robot that was presenting... do you know what I mean? Like, or something that was built by the villain of the new trilogy. You know what I mean? Like, anything you do to actually try and circumvent Rise of Skywalker will be as... because inevitably we're going to get 10, 11 and 12 now. This will happen at some point.
Aren't we?
But... you can't it will be as pathetic as how Rise of Skywalker circumvents around Last Jedi. As much as I don't like the Rise of Skywalker, this is the start. This is the story. You can say, it's not canon, but to develop the world further, we have to acknowledge to some extent that it happened.
This Colin Trevorrow version as well. It might not have been a good movie, but it is a direct sequel to The Last Jedi. There's fresh ideas in it. Yeah. The fact that it links all back into all 9 movies. Palpatine doesn't come back, so it doesn't undo the redemption of Anakin 6. Like, Kylo Ren doubles down on being evil, which is what I think always should have happened.
Almost definitely. Like, we don't want Vader 2.0.
Which is what we ended up getting in.
Yeah, of
really.
course,
Whereas
yeah.
in Last Jedi, I love
the whole point of his character was that he was a fanboy of Darth Vader and moving away from that idea. So him, I mean, I don't mind him being redeemed, but I just don't think that was what they should have done.
It's so obviously Disney. He was redeemed by a woman's love.
Yeah,
like it's so hokey. It's so hokey.
Also, I don't like that because it's like he should have. If it takes like a woman to redeem this abuser, like what are we saying about that? Do you know what I mean? Like he was a toxic person, and it only took Ray to come along for him to suddenly realise all this stuff was bad. Like he should have had that journey internally for himself in 9 if it was going to happen.
And then also as well, when you think about it, Ray gets particularly in Force Awakens, she gets like harassed by him, harangued by him.
Yeah.
And then at the end, she takes his name, which, yes, it's a Jedi name, Skywalker, but she's effectively taking, not his name, but the lineage that he was obsessed with. I'm not saying she takes his name, but the kind of the mythology that surrounds him, she adopts for herself, which in many ways validates a lot of the stuff that he was kind of doing.
I really like the idea of them kind of being romantically intertwined or having that sort of like that lust for each other. Because
I just always thought it wouldn't turn out well.
Yeah, it should have been lust.
Yeah, like I never thought, they're going to get together and everything's going to be okay. I just think that's incredibly Disney, and I thought they would be smart enough not to go to that route.
I say that's incredibly Disney. You say that. This is the studio that made Frozen, which literally took the piss out of that trope.
Yeah.
Like, so they're smart enough to know it's a lame trope. They're smart enough to negotiate outside of that. They made a whole film about how that trope's actually really toxic and really dated and really backward. That was a massive success. One of the highest grossing films ever. A cultural sensation. And then they doubled down on that trope in one of their biggest blockbusters of 2019. If Endgame didn't exist, it would be their biggest. And it confuses me because I thought, they've spent in their animated film, they've been making films that move past that kind of princess lineage, like things like Moana, like things like Zootopia, to tell us these new stories. And then Rise of Skywalker really doubles down on these backdated tropes. Not that I'm saying that redeemed by a woman's love is like bad inherently. It's just it's a weird trope to include in Star Wars because it doesn't add anything to the universe. All it does is take away from everything you've just seen for the past. I know it's only 2 movies, but it's since 2015 we've had this story, right?
Yeah.
Well, it takes away from the characters.
Yeah.
I think that entire part.
Would you like to hear something else that's cool?
Please break my heart more. Please, I'm loving it.
I really like this idea as well. So, Ren makes it clear that everything he wants is behind the temple doors, and they both sap the living force from each other as they fight. He gains the upper hand, strikes Rey across the face, and she's blinded. And then she's like, well, I can't fight, right? And then Luke's like, he quotes Obi-Wan, he says, like, the force penetrates us, binds us, and he basically says to her, like, you can still see. Also ties into what we've always seen from the Jedi when they have that training helmet with the blast shield down. They don't need their eyes to use the Force. She was then going to put a blindfold on and then fight Kylo Ren blind. That's awesome.
Can you imagine being Kylo Ren and the amount of hubris he has and then being beaten by a blind person in like a combat battle? Like the amount that Kylo Ren has spent his time going like, and he can war wound someone really severely and then be so much more inherently powerful and good-natured from them that an ailment like blindness is meaningless. Can you imagine that? That would just collapse all his thinking, because his thinking has always been like, I need to be as powerful as humanly possible. But to have someone who's just like got such faith in something destroy him, even when they've basically been, gutted by him on a power level, is really cool as well.
There's also basically a slightly later draft, which has also sort of come out of the woodwork, and this was after Carrie's death. And basically in this version, it's slightly different. It's sort of similar, but Kylo Ren gets redeemed. And I think this was basically, because I don't think some of the stuff in this one sounds as good. I think this was where basically it was starting to unravel before Hotel Trivago left the project. So in this one, the Knights of Ren get names, and there's a female Knight of Ren who's from the same planet as Darth Maul from Dathomir. So she would have looked like Darth Maul, and she basically vies for control of the Knights of Ren from Kylo Ren. And in this version, she ends up being the one that Kylo sort of turns against, and then Kylo and Rey fight her at the end. But like the Knights of Ren, I still think this is better than Palpatine coming back because the Knights of Ren are a central component to this story. You get personalities from them. You see that even though he's the master of the Knights of Ren, it doesn't mean they have to, not have their own opinions and mutiny against him. I think that's really interesting. Also, in this version, C-3PO was said to have been going senile because he's an old robot, which I think is quite fun.
Yeah.
I think the way that they treated 3PO as annoying in Rise of Skywalker felt like more so than usual, and like actually no one in the Resistance really likes him and gets irritated by him, was to me quite like... just felt a bit strange and
it just annoyed me how they deleted his memory and then reinstalled it.
Well, I mean, we were talking about this today. There's actually 4 death fake outs in The Rise of Skywalker.
Is there?
4?
There's Chewie.
Yeah.
There's C-3PO.
Yeah.
There's Rey.
Yeah.
And there's Kylo Ren.
Oh,
Going
God.
down. There's
Jesus
4 death fake outs in that movie. What I think death fake out personally as a trope is eye rolling at the best of times. I like it when characters stay dead. 4 in a movie. There's 4.
More importantly, most of them are in pathetic ways. Like, when Kylo Ren falls down that thing, it's just like, you're not dead, are you? It's just,
In fact,
what are you doing?
What? I would have preferred it if that had been it. Because imagine this guy spent his whole life being like, I'm the most powerful Force user ever. I'm going to end the Sith and the Jedi. I'm better than all this ancient stuff. And then this master of the ancient art of the dark side just goes... ping and throws him down. That would be almost... Obviously, you can't do that. It's a bit too... he's the most interesting character in the franchise. But imagine that. That would have made people go mental. That's like killing Snoke.
Subverting expectations.
No, but it is. Because he spends that whole time bigging himself up and going, we need to be past the Jedi and the Sith. And then for just an ancient Sith to be like, nah, mate. Nah, you're all right. You jog on. You get down that hole.
Also in this version, they were going to address the prophecy of Anakin Skywalker, and Rey was apparently going to go to Luke like, this is pointless. You say it's about bringing balance to the Force, but, the light extinguishes the dark extinguishes the light.
This is great
Day
stuff.
versus night.
Son of Krypton versus Bat of Gotham. Wow, I can't wait for more appearances from Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. When do you think he'll pop up next?
Hopefully in Wonder Woman. Hopefully. I just hope so.
Oh, my Lord. So he was going to... basically, Luke was going to be like, I don't really have an answer to that. And she was going to sort of have that sort of internal conflict about whether she should be a Jedi, tying into her obviously killing the Knights of Ren and all that kind of stuff. It felt like it was going to address everything. And it sounds like a more inventive movie. I'm so happy that Coruscant was in the draft.
Yeah, it's insane that it's not really.
It's not even a fanboy thing to me to want that in the sequel trilogy because it's like it's the capital city.
Also, it's
where
one of the most
everything
visually stunning planets in the universe.
Oh, it's my favourite planet in the saga.
Oh, definitely, I think so as well. I'm tired of again. We're on so many deserts all the time, things like that. It would have just been nice to have something visually stimulating in the new trilogy.
Also, I love the idea that we saw it when it was in its prime in episodes 1 to 3, and now we've come back to it. It's like decrepit. Everyone's sort of homeless, and the First Order's ruined it basically.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm annoyed about is that this film wouldn't have had. Hey!
I actually liked it.
The 4 seconds that people are now apologising for in Rise of Skywalker. You like the meme of him popping up in the ship and going, hey! Like everyone else who's going, Babu Frick was the best thing in the movie. You're like a 4-second clip in the movie. It's not even the bit where he's with 3PO. Everyone just likes when he turns up in the ship and goes, hey!
He's the only character you actually recognise in that ship scene, I think.
Not that I don't like Babu Frick, I don't. There's some concept art that was also released, and obviously we can't show you listeners, but Harry, Chris, I'll be showing you guys this when we wrap up. But what I will describe to you right now is there's one piece of concept art where Vader's ashes were going to sort of like start moving with the Force and sort of lead a trail for Colin to follow. So I don't know what was going to happen there.
Oh my God, this is fan service done right.
Also,
are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
The concept art has Rey in her Jedi outfit from Last Jedi, and I'm like, yes. Why did she lose her Jedi outfit? It really annoys me that not only did they backtrack on a narrative level from Last Jedi, but all the aesthetic choices go like 180. Like, why did she go back to dressing like how she does in the first one, but it's like a white version of that? Like, why did she not go full Jedi?
Well, I mean, you've always got to bear in mind that they've got to change the costume for each of these characters every time for
it didn't feel like a progression though, did it?
Sort of stuff. Oh no, I totally agree. Yeah, but you just have to bear that in mind. I think that's also probably why Kylo got the mask back.
Yeah,
in a cracked form, just because of like, we need to sell.
But some of the concept art in this is incredible.
It's absolutely
incredible. Well, there's one bit where Rey has a green lightsaber, and also she's force choking Kylo Ren.
Oh damn!
The guy that would
Is this
love
a sex
to be
scene
Vader.
or?
No. They've got their clothes on.
What a shame.
Also, there's Kylo Ren like leaning on a big throne room chair, right? The Knights of Ren surrounding him, and he's got Finn like floating before him, and apparently he was going to interrogate him on Coruscant.
See, I feel like that's two character interaction. That and Chewbacca. I feel like we never got that dynamic at all. Even in Force Awakens, really, we never get it. But I feel like they would revisit. Because the one thing I do like about Rise of Skywalker is the fact that Finn is force sensitive.
Really?
I kind of like that.
It's not for me. I just don't see what purpose it serves.
Well, because it kind of backs up this idea that anyone can be a Jedi.
But then it's
not a Jedi, but like anyone can have the Force.
But I've never really understood why this is in contention, because in the first trilogy, the prequel trilogy, they gather random kids across the universe. So I've never understood why it's like a bloodline thing. Like it's to me, the Force randomly inhabits certain,
I think people just need a reminder of that, and I feel like there's a great moment in The Force Awakens, which is kind of now a good callback when Kylo Ren first looks at Finn, and it's kind of like they know something, and I feel like now with context it makes it slightly better.
I feel like what happened was sort of like, obviously, as you say, in the prequel trilogy, there's all these Padawans and there's all these different people, and it's clear that they're just taking so many of these different people from all these different areas, and Disney come along and they look at it and they think, how can we streamline this? And so someone's, and they're in this board meeting and someone says, Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do? And so they just simplified the Jedi bloodline, to I just needed a convoluted excuse to say that quote. Source Bandium.
There's a pic of this double-bladed lightsaber here. It looks pretty cool.
But since people can't see it,
why we didn't get that either. It's weird because, like, even JJ making this movie, I'd understand this movie more if another director made it. Yeah. But like JJ coming back, it confuses me even more how it's this bad.
Yeah, I think he just got rushed,
Yeah, no, I give him that credit as well. I believe they had like 3 months less on post production,
and it's been brutalised in the edit, and you can tell.
Oh,
and you can tell there's been things that have been good. Like why is Lando looking like knowingly at the end of the film as if he knows that's his daughter, and yet there's nothing in the film to suggest that. And there's things like that where clearly they shot scenes involving that, and they've patched it all together. I don't necessarily think there's like a great movie in there, but I'm sure
I think there is a slightly better one.
Yeah, I think there is a better movie, and I think it's just been so brutally cut.
Yeah,
and it's so tonally all over the place that there are just things that, like the fact that Chewie gets, for me, always sticks out is that Chewie dies, and then you immediately find out like 10 minutes later. And like pace-wise, that's like so amateur. But if you just stuffed it out a bit more, if you put half an hour in the middle of that, at least then. I'm not saying that's good, but if you're going to bring Chewie back, right, bring him back later in the film than what you do.
I hate fake outs, as you said. It's just like, if you're going to kill him...
And shit fake outs, more importantly.
Yeah. I mean, Chewbacca is the family dog, isn't he? But he's also basically like kind of like a grandfather figure to Kylo Ren, or he would have been, I'd imagine. Yeah. It sucks they never got a moment together.
Yeah, I know,
I don't think Kylo Ren would be as eager to kill Chewbacca. It'd be like a family dog, wouldn't it?
You know when Roger Ebert said that Chewie was the worst character in all of Star Wars?
Really?
In his review, I think it was in Return of the Jedi, yeah. He was just like, he's got nothing to do in the whole franchise, and he's pointless.
That's not true.
No.
Chewbacca's I was thinking of doing a video on him, actually. So, yeah. Maybe the whole video will be about me being like, you're wrong, Roger.
That dead film critic Roger Ebert, who you can't reply to. Who can't reply to you.
Well, exactly. It's perfect because he can't rebuke what I'm saying.
Yeah, he'll probably rebuke you better because he's the master of rebukes.
He is an absolute wizard.
Yeah. Have you heard that anecdote where he came out of the Brown Bunny and he said it was the worst film he'd seen at Cannes, and I'm pretty sure it was the Brown Bunny, and Vincent Gallo, who directed it, said something like, what do you know about movies, you fat prick, or something like that. And Roger Ebert just turned around to him, and apparently in front of a load of people went, in fairness though, I can lose weight, whereas you'll have always directed that piece of shit. And then just like walked off. Which I just thought was so amazing. So like
I can hear the hit markers on him.
Like it's just like he's right though, isn't it? Like it's past tense. You're like, his way is malleable. Like, he directed this film. Oddly enough, fun fact actually, that was the cut at Cannes. And then Vincent Gallo actually recut it and implemented quite a lot of the stuff that Roger Ebert said was wrong with it. And Roger Ebert re-reviewed it and like gave it like 3 stars. And like
out of 4.
Yeah, in his old rating system. But it was things like, apparently there was a scene in the original cut where you see a bike and it's a really long shot just driving off into the distance. And then there's like a corresponding shot from the same angle on the other end of the road of it coming very slowly towards the camera and then cutting in. And he cut like 45 minutes from the movie, and Roger Ebert was just like, it's actually really well paced now. And he was like highlighting specific things. He was like, he just cut so many pointless sequences and pointless scenes, and now like they ended up like making amends over it and everything.
I love that Ebert, if the movie got made better, it wasn't it wasn't an ego thing for him, was it? It was just like, it's about the quality of the movie.
Well, yeah, no, he was like, that was the thing. He was never a snob about movies.
He's the greatest film critic of all time. Isn't
I think the only genre he ever so slightly was never warm on was horror.
Right.
But he was openly like, it's just not for me. He always he said in like reviews and interviews and stuff, he just didn't know how to review it. He didn't like it. He didn't really enjoy it. Like, he liked like key horror films, like things like Deliverance and Halloween. But I think things like slashers, he just couldn't really get behind. But like,
certain genres aren't going to be for certain people.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when we saw Little Women, we said a hallmark of it being good is I don't really get or enjoy period movies.
No.
So the fact that I actually enjoyed Little Women says a lot to its quality, because clearly if you're into period movies, this is still exceptional.
It takes a lot for me to watch a period drama, and I really enjoyed Little Women. Is there anything else you guys want to touch upon with this? Is it Trevorrow?
Trevorrow. Yeah.
Trevorrow. I got it.
No,
right.
sorry. In fact, it's Trevorrow. Sorry,
it is Trevorrow.
Yeah.
My God, why is this name so hard to say? Colin. Can we just call him Mr. T?
Mr. T.
I think we've really kind of covered like the bases on it, really. Haven't we, really, when it comes down to it.
Just to summarise for me, Kylo Ren not getting redeemed, Coruscant being in it, it all feeding in from all 9, talking about the balance, proper arcs for Finn, for Poe, for Rey. It all just sounds like a far superior shit. But of course, we don't know, because this is us talking about it.
It could have been a great script. Gets hacked in the edit.
Yeah, that's the
we don't know what Rise of Skywalker was initially looking like.
It's no guarantee that it was going to be a good movie, but from what I'm hearing, I like the concepts behind it better than I. If someone had also put
it makes
next
more
to me,
sense as well.
Yes,
and also I'll 100% always get behind a noble failure over something that's just like so soulless and corporate.
Oh, yeah.
I'll put behind like, it had loads and loads of great ideas, it just didn't execute them
I feel
well.
like if you read the bullet points of this and the bullet points of Rise of Skywalker without having seen Rise of Skywalker, you'd still think this was better.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you think Rise of Skywalker was an early draft.
Ray Palpatine is in
Ray Palpatine. It's disgusting. It shouldn't even be in my ears.
No,
I can't even believe it exists.
I couldn't believe it when I first heard
honestly,
it felt like fan fiction.
No, that's what it feels like. It feels like some Star Wars sort of fan film on YouTube.
Such a shame.
Not to discredit them, but
Actually, would you like to hear an interesting production rumour that I read as we close off the podcast?
Go on.
I read that Matt Smith was cast in the movie allegedly, and then it sort of quietly got forgotten about.
As young Palpatine.
True.
Not as young Palpatine, right? Apparently, Abrams wanted to bring in lore from the Clone Wars and have Matt Smith playing, I think, the son of Mortis, who is basically like the embodiment of the dark side, right?
Okay.
And he was going to have the role that Palpatine has in the movie, right? So Kylo Ren was going to go and find him, and he's basically like the progenitor of the dark side. He's the dark side embodied, and he was going to try and get ultimate power from him, and he was going to be like the overarching villain, which I think makes way more sense than bringing back Palpatine, because that doesn't undo Anakin's redemption, does it?
The more I think about it, and as much as I was initially angry at Abrams, the more I think about it, the more I think whoever was attached to this piece of shit was governed by a lot of, we need to look at, we've looked at this demographic, and we've looked at that demographic, and we've looked at X and Y. I don't think anyone was ever actually going to get the movie that they wanted to make. No. I think it was always going to be dictated by a lot of worry, by a lot of financial concern. Yeah. And I think ultimately, like, I'm not blaming anyone like who is a fan, and I'm not blaming people who disliked The Last Jedi, but I blame corporate culture of that film being so divisive that it produced a response in line with what a global mega corporation would do, which is play it as safe as humanly possible.
And just try to appease.
And as Disney continue to monopolise the industry, these kind of films may actually just continue to kind of come out the woodwork,
which is
where
terrifying.
There's no risk.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know where the blame lies.
It's
I've
impossible.
read reports that Abrams was really unhappy with the final cut. I was just as annoyed with him as I was at a lot of people when the movie came out, but of course that was because we didn't know who to blame, and all we knew from Abrams was that he kept being like, "Oh yeah, the film's really good. I'm really happy with it." So who knows?
I feel like it's a mix. I feel like Episode 9 is probably to blame by Disney and producers and stuff, but at the same time, I can't help but think with The Force Awakens, was JJ's ideas as solid as we originally thought they were to be? Like,
what, do you think he was always going to go Ray Palpatine?
Well, that's the thing. Like, there was so much that the problems I ever had with The Last Jedi are all down to JJ now. Thinking about it in a overall way, stuff like Ray, like what was Ray's parents ever going to be? They were making it this massive mystery.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to piss people off when you say it's a nobody, and then you bring it back and it's a Palpatine. Like, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It should have always.
Synergy.
It should have always been. We should have always just known she was a nobody. I think having it be shrouded in mystery annoyed people, and it gave people that idea, oh, it's going to be this. I never thought it was going to be like a Kenobi or a Palpatine, because I thought that's absolutely ridiculous. But I was like, what the hell? Why are they making this a mystery?
Yeah.
What is it? And I think that's why some people obviously just aren't happy with that. And I feel like, yeah, just problems with this trilogy is down to both what JJ started and how the producers have handled it at the end of the trilogy.
Maybe they just needed a better. Maybe they just need a better kind of like guiding hand on it, because I think, I don't think there's necessarily a lack of merit to having lots of different directors and things like that. But maybe you needed JJ overall free with, as you say, like a definitive, absolute plan.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And then to be like, this has to go here, and like. Even, for example, in the MCU, there's a plethora of directors, talent, producers working on those films. But you still have Kevin Feige, right? Just being there, overseeing the general... It doesn't even have to be that thing, but as you say, like having it set in stone, like Rey... If it was known from day one that Rey was going to be Rey Palpatine, I'm confident it wasn't on the basis that there's no way that Johnson would have done that.
No.
He would have found a different way around it, but there's no way he would have done that.
I would love to know
was
what
always
Rian
gonna be a clone,
Johnson's episode 9 is.
They would have. It would have been brilliant. I think Knives Out was evidence that it would have been brilliant. Or it would have been different.
Yeah.
It would have been different.
The same year that they released Rise of Skywalker, Rian Johnson took a dump on the front yard with Knives Out.
Knives Out was my favourite film of last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's my number 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved it. It was my number 1 until Uncut Gems.
Knives Out I had a lot of fun with. A lot of fun.
Movie.
And bear in mind, I wasn't the biggest fan of Last Jedi, so...
No, I remember.
No, but like I said, the problems I have with it is just because of what JJ done. I feel like one person should have just directed this. It's been a massive relay race, just passing the baton from one to the other, and people not giving a shit.
Do you think J.J. Abrams set it up in a way that it didn't matter if it was Rian Johnson or anyone, whoever stepped into that chair for part 2 would have failed some fans because of...
Of course, because JJ was setting up stuff that he didn't even know the answer to. He wanted the mystery to sound better than the answer, and
it's
that's not how
like,
mystery works.
Lost.
Or Fringe, God.
Or everything, because I'm a huge Fringe fan, but Fringe has the same issue. It sets up a lot of mythology in its first series, and then its final series doesn't work because it scattershotly compiles everything together. I don't really like... I stopped watching Lost after a certain amount of time. I've heard the finale is excellent, to be fair. People always praise it as one of the best TV finales. But it felt like it had lost the plot, and the things that were set up, like the smoke monster, just actually... It just all... He's very good at setting off mysteries.
Absolutely.
And, I think he's quite good at self-contained narrative. The original Star Trek is awesome.
Oh, my God.
I love that.
Super 8 is awesome.
Yeah.
Super 8 is a great film. But it's when he sets the cogs off. I just don't think he's that skilled at actually, in all honesty... at being able to take something to its logical conclusion. He's got the same problem that someone like Stephen Moffat has in my head. He loves a good teaser, but he doesn't understand how to actually weave that into the story and work his way back. I think that's actually the recurring theme.
I also think Abrams was a better fit for Star Trek because he wasn't that close to the material and he was able to bring something new to it, whereas he has such a hard-on for the original trilogy that it clouds his judgment, doesn't it?
It's like one of my biggest
so fucking clear.
One of my biggest fears when they brought Twilight Zone back was he was going to be attached to it for that exact reason, because he's like a Twilight Zone obsessive.
Oh, really?
So all you would have got was things like Nightmare at 40,000 feet and things like that. You know what I mean? Like you would have just got these like retooled versions of classic episodes.
Yeah.
And you know, I get why he's very good at what he does to an extent in terms of setting things up, right? Like The Force Awakens is enjoyable popcorn film. Star Trek is an enjoyable popcorn film.
Yeah.
But he's done this so many times now. He's just failed to kind of.
Yeah, I think he's let me down enough that I'm not very trusting of him.
I think this is for me. I know you were let down by Into Darkness.
Yes,
I wasn't as let down by that, but yeah,
moderately let down. Mildly let down. On a scale of 1 to 9, you've put a 3 here on disappointment.
I have one final question for you before we end the podcast. How in that repurposed Duel of the Fates, how did they fit into EastEnders? Just to bring us full circle.
Well, basically, right. They went to the
Queen Vic.
That was it. Yep, that was it. They went to the
yeah.
Queen Vic, right? They walked in, they swaggered in, and they're like, "Phil, we need some East End muscle for the final battle against the First Order." And he's like cleaning the glasses. He's like, "Nah, I'm done with all that stuff." Also, you can tell Poe Dameron he owes me some money. Right? Anyway, so he doesn't show up again, right? And then they're all everything's blown up around them. Lando and his ships are there. They fail as well. They're all fucked, right? And then Poe's like, "Damn it! If only we had some East End muscle." And then out from the music goes, and then Phil Mitchell comes in on his own sort of brand of rusty Millennium Falcon bucket, and he's like, "All right, I'm here to go mess up some fucking stormtroopers, and I." And then he drops down. He lands on Hux, and Hux is Ian Beale-esque, and he's like, "I've got nothing left."
You know what? Actually, I was just thinking about that. Yeah. Imagine you could tie them two together. If you fuse them together, Ben Mitchell would be Kylo Ren. And he'd have a shrine to Phil Mitchell and be like, "I must finish what you started." Because you could totally see Kylo Ren getting annoyed at one of his personnel going, "You need to slap it down," with his lightsaber. It's the ultimate.
Is Barbara Windsor Leia?
Yeah. It's an achievable crossover.
Achievable crossover.
On that absolutely appalling end note, thank you for coming here today.
That's right. Anytime.
Harry, would you like to leave our audience with a closing thought on indeed anything? It could be about anything in space and time, or indeed Duel of the Fates, Rise Skywalker. What you had for breakfast, whatever you want.
My main problem with episode 9. Why the fuck was Duel of the Fates not in it? Why was it not in it?
Oh my god!
That when they're fighting, there's no score. Put it in there. Why is it not in there? Sorry, that has been sitting on me for weeks.
Also, it was unforgivable. They put it in that TV spot.
Oh my god! What cock tease! What absolute cock tease! But yeah. That was my lot.
And on that end note, I've been Chris.
I've been Chris.
For God's sake, we tried this last week.
Chris Skywalker.
We tried this. Oh my god! No! What's your name? Ray Mitchell. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, we're using our made-up names.